tree can be blown over very, very easily when it's young and it grows those deep, deep roots. That is what I experienced hanging out with my older brother and my twin brother and our wives as we sat around and just reminisced on the past and so forth.
I used to chase the ROI all the time, return on investment. And over the course of time, that has evolved into what I call return on life.
Welcome everyone to the Return on Life podcast, where it's not always about the ROI, as I say. It is about the return on life, or hashtag ROL. And I just returned from 9 days on a road trip. Yeah, 9 days. And it was fabulous. And it's really about the return on life. And this road trip took me to a number of places that I've been to. Well, actually, I've been to all of these places before, but some I had been back for, gosh, 30 years or so. And so there's just some great, great memories. And so there's some great life lessons in everything that we do. In everything that we do, there's incredible life lessons. And so today I want to share with you some life lessons from the road trip. Often we have a guest, or I have a guest on the show with me, and I thought this time I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm just going to have a little monologue here about some of the things that I learned along the way through the road trip that I spent with my beautiful wife, Jolene. And so we traveled 9 days, and the first stop was, and I'll just briefly share with this, and then we'll get into some real learning lessons. But first bit was, I hiked Mount Shiam, which is just a beautiful, beautiful hike in the Fraser Valley and has extremely awesome views. So I did that first on Thursday. Then we drove to Osoyoos, which is just an incredible vineyard, wine, heat, desert kind of area. And it was just so much fun hanging out with Jolene there. Then we went off to Creston and I visited my oldest brother, Lauren. He's 11 years older than me. And so we had some good time there, and my twin brother and his wife Margot joined us there. We did a little bit of golf, and then off to Whitefish, Montana, where Jolene and I honeymooned 37 years ago. 37 years. So that was great. Then we traveled Logan's Pass, Highway to the Sun, through unbelievable, beautiful Glacier National or International Park. And if you've ever done that drive, you know how beautiful it is. If you haven't, Google it and look at that incredible drive, the vistas, the views, the hiking, just unbelievable. And then into Waterton National Park on the Canadian side. And that's my old stomping ground. And then off to Pincher Creek, where I was born and raised, for a family gathering. And I've got tons of cousins, 40 plus cousins. And of course, we're all getting a little older, but just had a wonderful, wonderful time there. So just a fabulous, fabulous road trip. And so I just want to share some of my personal reflections and maybe build this into some of my thoughts on leadership and what I learned along the road in the last 9 days that I think will just be, I think, valuable for you as individuals, whether you're entrepreneurs, business owners, realtors, or just people that enjoy and want to build a better life. So we're going to dive into those as we go through today's Return on Life podcast. So the first part that I want to really share about leadership is revisiting your roots and leadership. And it's about rekindling memories and having some leadership insights by doing that. And so as I traveled and I was going through various places that I'd been before, there were so many things that came back. So rekindling those roots, what did I learn then and what have I learned since? That is the key, because we need to always be learning. So what did I learn when I was younger from those locations, from those experiences, and then revisiting today? And what are the things that I've learned along the way? What did I do well? What I did not do well? And how can I improve on those things? And so these are some of the things that are really important in leadership. And the key point I want to make is we need to continually and regularly reflect on our roots, reflect regularly on our roots. And where did we start? Where did we start? And what can we do with that? And what motivated us then and what is motivating us now, and how those early experiences led us to be leaders that we are today. And I think that's really important for us to like walk through some of these things. So I really want to encourage you to reconnect with your personal past, your professional past, and maybe if you had a journal, it'd be great to go back, especially in those times, maybe where you were when you were journaling, and then maybe go back and re-journal today in some of those same locations. I think that'd be really, really cool to do. And so, if I think of our road trip or my road trip, um, traveling through Osoyoos, I mean, I've been there many, many times with my kids, with just Jolene, friends, family, and just enjoy the heat and what I experienced there. And I reflected a little bit on, when I started as an entrepreneur, and it was early on, and we drove by some of the places that we stayed at. And of course, today we could afford different places, but those older hotels or motels that we stayed at in Osoyoos as a family, I can remember actually our youngest daughter, we actually put her in a cupboard drawer because there was no room and she was just so small and so young at that time. We just slid her into a drawer. So just reflecting back on where we have come from and where we are today, it just really warmed my heart. And of course, the beautiful area of the vineyards and so forth is just really, really awesome. But probably the next place was kind of where really I got some incredible feelings and understandings, and through leadership as well, is where I visited my brother in Creston, BC. And of course, we sat around in the evenings and chatted a lot about, stories and past and where we've come from. And then hanging out with my twin brother too. There was just a great synergy between the three of us and our wives and hanging out together. But, never forget where you've come from. I guess that's what I got from hanging out with my oldest and my twin brother, is just never forget where you've come from, and never forget those deep roots, those roots that really are the foundation of who you are. I mean, think of who you are, who you were when you were younger, when you were, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 25, 30, like, and how you've used those roots of your earlier years to establish who you are today. It's no different than a tree. A tree can be blown over very, very easily when it's young and it grows those deep, deep roots. That is what I experienced hanging out with my older brother and my twin brother and our wives as we sat around and just reminisced on the past and so forth. But I'm going to get to something really great at the family gathering that we attended. We all attended that family gathering in our hometown of Pincher Creek. But that was something that was really, really valuable, and just rekindling those leadership moments of how we dug our roots in deep into great, fertile, great land that would hold the trunk of who we are and give us the strength to be incredible agents or incredible people today. And without that, that wouldn't have happened. And really, that is about our parents. Our parents were really, stressing how we needed to become the people that we needed to be, the humans, the men, the women that we needed to be at a very, very young age. And so we had great leadership at home. And leadership is really about surrounding yourself with the right people. And I thought about that as well, which I'll come to in my family gathering story as well as we get there. But I want to make sure that we keep on the same road that we traveled on. So from there, we went to Whitefish, Montana. Whitefish, Montana. And if you haven't been there, you need to go there. what an amazing, amazing town, at the well, it's kind of in the Flathead Valley. So there's this incredible valley that's just filled with beautiful lakes and so forth. But then the Rockies, the Continental Divide is just right there. And the vistas in that, so, so amazing. But Whitefish is super, super special to my wife and I because that, as I said earlier, is where we honeymooned 37 years ago. And we stayed in this beautiful cabin that we thought was so massive and so large because, hey, we had nothing. We were coming from nothing. And we saw this amazing cabin again, and it's kind of small. It wasn't near as large as we thought. But again, great insight into where we've come from and where we're going and where we are. And in Whitefish, we connected with some friends. And this friend and his wife, they became friends of us years and years ago. In fact, I worked for him way back when I was newly married 37 years ago. And he gave me great opportunities. Again, it's about the people, right? And he gave me great opportunities in the sports shop that he owned. And he gave me a leadership role. And did he just give it to me? No, I literally asked for the leadership. I insisted I wanted to lead and be something within his world, in his business. And because of that, there was many others in that store that could have been part of that. But again, I had to put my hand up and I said, I want to take some leadership here. So if you're thinking about leadership, if you're thinking that you would like to be part of something bigger, that you think that you are a leader, you have to put your hand up. You have to say, listen, how can I help? What can I do for you? What can I be in your business? And I don't expect to get a bigger paycheck. I just expect to bring value. I expect to be a contributor. And so that is what I did then, which then, of course, launched me into a management position. I eventually got a store that I basically ran as if it was my store with that fellow and his company, which was, I thought, so generous of him. And I was so excited to do it. And that is really what launched my entrepreneurial business because I saw this within myself as well by playing out that role of being virtually the store owner. That's really what I was. And people saw me as the store owner, even though it wasn't mine, but I treated it like mine. Another leadership quote there: treat your job like it's your business. Treat your role like you are the owner, and then leadership will grow from that. So another great lesson there. Well, anyways, from Whitefish, we traveled through Logan's Pass, which was just stunning, and just nature and what God's hand had created there. Again, I just felt so connected and so empowered by what I was seeing there. And that again just leads me to go, how can I be better? See, I believe that one day I'm going to be asked a question. I'm going to be asked a question that, Randy, did you give everything you could? Let me say that again. Randy, did you give everything that you could? And did you become everything that I've given you? And that, I think, will be the question I'll be asked. At least I want to live my life that way, almost like, when I do get to the pearly gates, there'll be my identical potential twin. Whatever I could have become will be there. And it'll be, did you become this person or not? And so really, I think we as leaders, we as entrepreneurs, we need to say to ourselves, are we becoming everything that we could be? Ask yourself that on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever basis. Are we becoming what is the full potential of who we are? See, we've been given all of these gifts, all of these resources within our soul, And I ask you, are you using all of those gifts to the full potential. To the full potential. If you're not, I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to encourage you to use all of your gifts, all your resources to the fullest potential. You've been given them. Your soul is full with this potential. Now go out and use and give what you've been given. So that's what I saw as I traveled over this incredible road with these incredible vistas over the continental divide of Montana, So that was incredible. And then from there, we went to Waterton National Park. On the way there, there's a mountain called Chief Mountain. Google it, Chief Mountain. Incredible mountain. And it stands on its own out in the middle of the prairies to the one side, and then the continental divide to the other side. And there's this massive mountain, big pillar of a mountain. It's called Chief Mountain. And it is just an impressive mountain. Again, I was just so in awe again of this mountain, even though I grew up next to it. But you forget, another great lesson, you forget the beauty in things. You forget the energy of things that you experienced, and you have to go back and kind of reflect and rekindle that. So again, the energy and the beauty and the power of going back, reflecting and feeling that energy. And then from there, we went off to the family gathering, which was just incredible. So seeing cousins. I have no uncles. They've all passed away. My dad was actually the last of the brothers and sisters that had passed away. That's a number of years ago. So it was just the cousins and the cousins' kids and nieces and nephews and all that. And so it was really great. We had a couple of days of connecting and sharing, and of course storytelling and all that. So just great sharing there. But again, I saw just the power of leadership within our family, and the creation of all of these incredible leaders that are out there doing incredible things in the world, and they are using their full potential in so many ways. So rekindling memories and leadership insights and reflecting on our roots and experiences that we had, just very good. So I just encourage you again as a listener to reconnect with some of the things that have happened in the past, revisiting old goals, revisiting physical locations that actually encouraged or actually spurred you on to do things. And again, I experienced those in whether it was Osoyoos or in Whitefish or over Logan's Pass. I've got some crazy stories about Logan's Pass with my motorcycle when I was barely past a teenager, but I won't get into that now. And then, of course, going through Waterton Lake National Park, where I spent so many days every year hanging out in the park, on the lake, the golf course, the town, and all that kind of good stuff, and hiking and biking and all that. And then, of course, going to the family gathering, which was just really good. So very good. And of course, on all those old memories, we're now creating new memories. And so, another great leadership lesson on that is leaders should focus on continued growth, building on past experiences to create new opportunities and forge stronger connections with the people that you've met, the locations, even the locations, because a location makes you energized. It gives you energy in some way. And I felt so energized, whether it was in Osoyoos, Creston, Whitefish, Logan's Pass, Waterton, or hanging out with my family. I just was energized and came home just ready to, go to another level again. So really good stuff there. So things that I would encourage you to do on building old memories and creating new ones, of course, is to challenge you to identify an area in your life or in your leadership where you can build something new out of something old. Build something new out of something old, because you've got all this wisdom from the past. And often we forget about that. In fact, when we're younger, we've got all this curiosity. We do all these, interesting, crazy, good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, things. And then we park it. We've just parked it on a shelf or put it in a drawer, and we forgot about being curious. So I want you to think about, some of those things from the past that you can build something new with. So build something new out of something old. And that could be reviving a project or a new insight, or re-engaging even with some old mentors. Think about that. There's maybe a mentor from years and years ago that you haven't spoken to. And just think, that mentor has more wisdom today than he or she had then. And in my case, I did connect with an old mentor and brought it forward. So that old mentor was the store owner at the sports shop. And again, I hadn't seen him, gosh, in about 25 years. And so just connecting and meeting and just talking about the past and the present and what we've done in between, again, it energized me, but I learned some things again, because he was such a great mentor then, and he's still a great mentor today. So I'm going to encourage you, renew something from the past, because you're going to just do it that much better today, and renew an old mentor relationship. Yes, go and renew that old mentorship. And that could be from just a few years ago, a decade ago, or in my case, over 2 decades ago. Really, really rewarding. So I'm really going to encourage you to do that. And so, again, revisit your roots and build some leadership out of your past. Build some leadership out of your past. Well, another great point that I want to make about lessons from the road is the power of reflection and reconnection. Power of reflection and reconnection. And reflection is a powerful tool for us as leaders. It's just an incredible tool, allowing us to process past decisions, understand current challenges, and also help us planning for future actions. So I don't know what you do. Do you reflect regularly? Do you sit down? Do you journal? Do you have quiet time? These are all moments that are so important for us as leaders, because we can be overwhelmed with information. And if we don't take this time to kind of settle, reflect, have quiet time, it makes it difficult for us to even be creative. I found that the more time I spend reflecting, getting away from the day-to-day work, is when the creativity within me really, really comes out. And so I did a lot of this while we were on our road trip. Of course, just driving down the road, often we wouldn't have the radio on. We're just, like in kind of la la land, so to speak, and just thinking about, what's around us, the surroundings, or what I've accomplished this year and what I'm going to be doing and how that all kind of fits in. But it's the quiet time. It was when we're just alone, or I was just alone at the beach, or just sitting by myself, enjoying a cup of coffee without knowing, with knowing that I didn't have to like prepare or get ready for an appointment or go to an appointment. Just having that time where you get up when you get up. There's no alarm set. Not that that changed much for me. I was always up early because I'm just got this internal alarm clock in me. But I knew that I didn't need to get up for anything specific. I didn't have anything on the agenda. Just reflection, or just processing, or just, oh my goodness, the biggest decision is, where are we going to have breakfast, when we got up, kind of thing. So just a great way to kind of bring out that creativity within you. And you have to do this. See, when your appointment schedule is just so full, you can't come up for air, your creativity is going to be very, very low. So you need to find time to reflect and get away from it all so you can get that creative juice running and flowing and coming out of you again. So that was really, really important. So I would just suggest to try and disengage. And if you can't leave for 9 days on a road trip, disengage for an hour or 2 hours this week, just to try and reflect on the past, but allow that creativity to start to boil within you and come out in the goodness of all of the things that you're doing already, but you just need to free it up, take off almost the shackles of busyness so you can reflect and bring out the creative juices. So incorporate something like that in your daily journaling, your weekly reviews, and maybe plan for some sort of retreat, whether that's 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or maybe even a week of just going away to reflect and find out some of that good stuff that's within you. Then the next piece was reconnect. So reconnect with the family and with community. And so that was one of the things that was a real highlight for me, was connecting with my family in Pincher Creek and just the importance of that. Now we do something really cool and unique as a family, as the Dyck family or Dyke family, however you want to pronounce it. Doesn't matter to me, by the way. I don't care how you pronounce my name, just call me. That's all that matters. But what we have done for the last, gosh, for as long as I've been alive, we have always had family gatherings. Every year there was always 2 gatherings. One was around Mother's Day, when it was my grandmother's birthday. We'd always gather in a park for Mother's Day because her birthday was right around Mother's Day. And so every family, and again, there's 46 cousins. Imagine that, 46 cousins plus, all coming together in a park, in a public park, and hosting a birthday party for our grandmother. So we did that every May, and then every Christmas season on Boxing Day. And if you're in America, you wonder, what is Boxing Day? Well, it's the 26th. It's the 26th of December. In Canada, we have this thing called Boxing Day. And so again, we'd all gather together. We'd rent out a school, we'd rent out a community facility, we'd rent out skating rinks, whatever. We'd always rent something out, all come together again. And every one of these events, we would break food. We'd break food together, break bread together. And it just came together. And yeah, amongst cousins, there'd be scraps and fights, during the basketball game or the floor hockey or whatever it was. But oh my goodness, such incredible memories were made. And then the reconnection of all that because of this family event. And we still do this. We still do these family events. Now we've slowed down. It's now every 2 years that we gather as an entire family. So that's slowed down, but just incredible, insights from doing that. And when I think of leadership, it's about reconnecting with family is kind of like, it's vital for personal well-being. It really is. And it's no different than reconnecting with your team. You need to reconnect with your team, no matter how large it is or how small it is or how far away it is, or always need to be reconnecting, because it's that connection, which is the community as well as the communication, that is so important. And it's essential for a healthy environment, a healthy leadership environment. So for all you listening, I'd encourage you as leaders, as entrepreneurs, as business owners, to make time for your team and connect on a regular basis outside of work. Outside of work, I think it's really, really important to do that. And it builds incredible team, helps with, everything inside the team, because when you can play, work, and enjoy each other, then everything seems to work better. So leaders, have some casual check-ins, and then also have some structured community type events, some family gatherings, so to speak. I think it's really, really important that you do that. So reconnect, of course, and reflect is a real key to being an incredible leader. And those are some of those key tips and things that I got on my road trip. The last piece I'll share about our road trip when it comes to leadership is the flexibility and adaptability and the journey versus the destination. Leadership lessons from the road, flexibility. Hey, let's talk about flexibility, because as leaders and business owners and entrepreneurs, everything is always changing, and we need to be flexible and adaptable, because that's what makes us really good at what we do. When we can be flexible and adapt to different situations, oh my goodness, that is how we really, really succeed. So a couple of things from the road trip that made us be flexible and adapt. Probably the biggest one, or at least initially one of the biggest ones, was we booked a hotel in Creston. And I left this up to my wife. The room is more important to her than it is to me. And so I said, hey, honey, why don't you book all of our accommodations? And so we pull up to this hotel. I won't say which one it is, but oh my goodness, it was rough. It was really rough. And I thought, okay, let's see how this goes. Let's see how this rolls out. And so my wife wanted to see the room because from the exterior, it didn't look so good. And how many of you have seen something that just didn't look right when you first saw it when it comes to business? Yeah, many of us have. Well, anyways, she went and had a look at the room and came out going, shaking her head like, not a chance. We're not staying here. So anyways, she came back to the vehicle. She said, we're going to go find another hotel. And there's a great cancellation list or great cancellation program that we're on. So that was no problem. But here's the deal. Everything was booked solid. The entire town was booked solid everywhere we went. And so we need to adapt. So what did we do? We went and stayed at my brother's place, which I thought was the place to stay anyways. But I was, again, letting my wife make some of those decisions. And so we went, and that being flexible and adaptable was such an incredible experience for us, because we experienced something we wouldn't have experienced if we would have stayed at the hotel. We wouldn't have had those late night conversations, those sitting outside on the patio, swatting at the bugs and the little critters that were running around. We wouldn't have had that experience, but more importantly, we would have had the discussions and the chats that we had with my brother. And so being flexible and adaptable in business is so, so important. So flexibility is crucial in leadership. The ability to adapt and change circumstances while staying focused on your goals is what sets leaders apart. It sets us apart. We need to be flexible and adaptable because it sets us apart. If we can't adapt or be flexible and we're just stuck in a lane, when there's a better lane, a faster lane, a more productive lane, gosh, we're going to miss out. So be flexible, adaptable. And that is really about being curious and open-minded. Many of us are not open-minded enough. So be open-minded. And so I just encourage you to take strategies that will enhance the flexibility, such as scenario planning, staying open to feedback, and practicing being open-minded. See, one of the things that humans are notorious for, this is a human habit, a human behavior, is that we're not open-minded. And I know you're going to say to me, but Randy, I am open-minded. Think about this. You may be open to other ideas, other people's opinions. You might even research it till the cows come home. But are you really open to changing lanes, to moving significantly from where you are? That is being open-minded if you see something better. But most often we will do the research and then we'll come back to our lane that we always go down. So I'm just going to encourage you, really think, are you really open-minded? Are you really flexible? Are you really open to being adaptable? Ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. Are you really open-minded? And then it's not always about the journey, it's about the destination. And so, the journey of the road trip was incredible and the destination was incredible, but is it always about that? So a key insight, the experiences, learning and connecting made along the way of my road trip are often more valuable than reaching the end goal. So, we went from, Crescent Beach all the way through to Mount Shiam, to Osoyoos, wine country, to Creston, BC, which is fruit country and lakes and a beautiful golf course, by the way. And then off to Whitefish, Montana, which is just this hip little cowboy town in the mountains. And it's just got everything from luxury to Cowboyville. And then off to the Continental Divide over Logan's Pass. And the scenery, incredible, all the way through up into Canada again. So we went from British Columbia to Montana, then back to Canada and Alberta in the Waterton Lakes, which I've been there for years and years and years. And here's again, we did something we had never done. There's a boat trip up and down the lake. Well, we had a boat. We went up and down that lake all the time as kids, as teenagers. We water skied on that lake. We fished on that lake. Yet I said to my wife, Julian, I said, let's do something different. Let's actually take the guided tour on the International. This boat is the oldest boat west of the Mississippi that's still being used. And it was built in conjunction with the Prince of Wales Hotel, which was an incredible hotel. In fact, I'll post a few pictures here about the hotel and my road trip and all that. So I'm going to post some pictures. You'll see that. But we did that, and it was so incredible. The guide that shared, or the fellow that shared all the details about Waterton Lake National Park and all the details of geology and the trees, and there was a massive fire that rolled through there and the benefits of the fire, we would have never experienced. So we were flexible, adaptable, and this is part of the journey. It wasn't just the destination, it was the journey of doing all of those things and hearing and seeing and feeling it. And then, of course, the experiences and the memories and the new memories that I created with my family at the family gathering. So I really would encourage you to do this. And I encourage you as a leader to focus on the process. Celebrate the small wins. So celebrating those little stops along the way, and then learning from those setbacks, like we did when the hotel room was just a disaster, and what we learned when we were flexible and adaptable. And then, of course, enjoying the ride. You gotta enjoy the journey. You gotta enjoy the ride. And so that is some of the things that I really want to share about from our road trip when it comes to leadership. And just to refresh our memory on that, it's about revisiting your roots and developing those incredible roots that you've got from years, decades, maybe 50, 60 years. In my case, it's 60 years of roots that are planted deep. And what I've learned from those when it comes to leadership, the power of reflection and reconnection. What are you doing as a leader to reflect, and how are you doing that? And then how are you reconnecting with the most important people around you? And then number 3, or part 3, was about leadership lessons from the road, the flexibility, the adaptability. It's about the journey versus the destination. About the destination. So as you go through this week, the balance of this month, this is mid-August now, the dog days of summer. I just would encourage you to take some of these insights when it comes to leadership and practice them this week. I invite you to share your experience and reflections and comments with myself here. You can DM me, you can put it in the comments, whatever it may be. But I'd also say, as you process this and think about these things, is to maybe talk to your family about them. Talk to the people in your business, because you're a leader at home, you're a leader in your business, and you're a leader in the community. So talk and think about this and reflect on this, but then also go forward and pay it forward with others and share with them some of the things that's been on your heart, that's been on your mind about reflection, about reconnecting, about flexibility, about the journey, and pay it forward with somebody else that maybe needs to hear this. So I just want to thank you as an audience. I know this is a little different than what we usually do. I really like sharing some of my thoughts and my insights, and I hope you got some value out of the Return on Life podcast. Get out there and get some ROL. Let me tell you that. Get some ROL, Return on Life. It's not about the ROI all the time, even though, yes, I know we do need the return on investment so we can have more of the ROL, but I just really appreciate each and every one of you. DM me, talk to me, show me what you think of this, or share with me what you think of this. And I look forward to seeing you next show. Thank you for being here.